A jury in New York has found former U.S. President Donald Trump guilty in his hush money case in Manhattan. The decision makes Trump the first former or sitting U.S. president to be convicted of a crime. The jury concluded Trump falsified documents to cover up a $130,000 payment to silence an adult film actress ahead of the 2016 election. Trump was found guilty on all 34 counts. Trump blasted the verdict, insisting he did nothing wrong. Let's have a listen.
This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people. And they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here. We didn't do a thing wrong. I'm a very innocent man, and it's okay. I'm fighting for our country. I'm fighting for our Constitution, and we'll keep fighting. We'll fight till the end, and we'll win.
Donald Trump there after his conviction. Let's get more on this from our DW correspondent, Benjamin Alvarez Gruber in Washington, D.C. Benjamin, this is a historic moment. Trump is now the first former U.S. president convicted of a crime. What more can you tell us about the verdict?
That's right. This is an unprecedented moment that will go down in history of this country, as Donald J. Trump is now the first former U.S. president to be found guilty of felony crimes. It was a late-day verdict that came after the judge told the courtroom the jury would be dismissed, making many think that this verdict will come on another day. But shortly after that, the announcement came in that the jurors who had been deliberating for nearly 12 hours over the past 2 days had reached a verdict, and the next big date will now be July 11th, because that's when Donald Trump will be sentenced, and that is something that comes just days before officially becoming the GOP presidential nominee. That will begin on July 15th in Milwaukee. The former president's lawyer tried to move this to late July to take place after the convention, but the request was denied.
There's been a lot of anticipation about this verdict and how the reaction would be. What else are we hearing right now?
There have been a lot of reactions on both sides, on the supporters but also of the opponents of Donald Trump. One of the supporters, Eric Trump, his son who was sitting behind him, is the guilty verdict was read in court, and he said, and I quote, "May 30th, 2024 might be remembered as the day Donald J. Trump won the 2024 presidential election," and quite similar to the message and to the reaction that Speaker Johnson, the Speaker of the House of Representatives and a close ally of Donald Trump, said, as he called today, and I quote, "a shameful day in American history." He said that this trial was, and I quote, "purely political exercise, not a legal one." He also ended his statement saying that President Trump will rightfully appeal that, what he called an absurd verdict, and he said, "we will win." One of the key witnesses, the former lawyer of Donald Trump, Michael Cohen, said that today is an important day for accountability and the rule of law. And only moments after Donald Trump was found guilty on 34 criminal courts, President Biden said, and I quote, "there's only one way to keep Donald Trump out of the Oval Office, at the ballot box."
Well, the charges on which Trump was convicted are punishable by up to 4 years in prison. Does this mean that the former president could actually be incarcerated?
That seems likely because the charges against Donald Trump are so-called non-violent Class E felonies, the lowest level in New York. Each of these 34 counts carries the possibility of several years in prison, but incarceration is not a given because many legal experts say that it's unlikely that Trump will be incarcerated, given he hasn't previously been convicted of a crime. But we will have to see and to wait for July 11th to find it out, when the sentencing of Donald Trump will happen.
Benjamin, the big question here, and you've touched on this already, what does this verdict mean for the upcoming presidential election?
It's clear that his campaign will try to financially capitalize this, as they did also with his impeachment. We can expect it to do the same now. Just minutes after this verdict, it was announced the Trump campaign sent out a fundraising email in which Trump said, and I quote, "I am a political prisoner." And the online portal that the Trump campaign uses to accept a donation was also down. I also tried to access that site, and that was not working. So we can expect that the Trump campaign campaign will manage to financially capitalize from today's verdict and also push for his supporters to also help, not just by donating to his campaign, but also to repeat his points, pointing at the Biden administration and saying that this is a scam and that he's very innocent, as we heard it at that little soundbite before this live.
All right, that's Benjamin Alvarez Gruber in Washington. Thank you.